presents.
It's so dreadful to be poor.
I don't think it's fair for some girls to have plenty of nice things and others nothing at all.
Well, we have father and mother and each other.
We don't have father, and Shan's had him for a long time. I think it was splendid of him to go off to the war and fight as the chaplain when he was too old to be drafted and not strong enough for a soldier. Wish I could go as a nurse, or a drummer, or a Viva, what's his name?
Well, you know why Mother proposed not having presents this Christmas was because it's going to be a hard winter for everyone. And she thinks we ought not spend money for pleasure when our men are suffering so in the army.
Well, the little money we should spend wouldn't do any good. We've each got $1. I agree not to expect anything from you or Marmee, but I would like to buy Undine and Centrum for myself. I've wanted it so long.
I plan to spend mine on new music.
I shall get a nice box of drawing pencils. I really need them. Marmee didn't say anything about our money, and she wouldn't want us to give up everything. Let's each buy what we want and have a little fun. I'm sure we work hard enough to deserve it.
I know I do. Teaching those tiresome children all day when I'm longing to enjoy myself at home.
I don't think you have half as hard a time as I do with Aunt Marge. How would you like to be shut up for hours with a nervous, fussy old lady who keeps crying, Josephine, Josephine, is never satisfied and worries you till you're ready to fly out of the window or cry?
I know it's naughty to fret, but I do think that washing dishes and keeping things tidy is the worst work in the world.
I don't believe any of you have as trying a time as I do, for you don't have to go to school with impertinent girls who laugh at your dresses, insult you when your nose isn't nice, and label you if your father isn't rich. If you mean libel, I'd say so and not talk as if Papa was a pickle bottle. I know what I mean, and you needn't be satirical about it. It's proper to use good words and to improve your vocabulary. Girls, do you remember the night when Amy wore a clothespin on her nose to uplift that offending feature? Well, it wouldn't have been crooked if you hadn't dropped me in a coal hod when I was a baby. I intend to take time by the fetlock to improve myself. And you may laugh all you please, so there. Oh, indeed. My one comfort is that Mother doesn't take tucks in my dresses when I'm naughty.
Tucks in your dresses, Amy, whatever do you mean?
Maria Park's mother does, and my dear, it's really dreadful, for sometimes she is so bad that her frock is up to her knees, and she can't come to school at all. Well, I call that mean. So do I. And when I think of that degradation, I feel I can bear even my crooked nose and my purple dress with yellow skyrockets on it. Amy, you do fuss so over clothes. I call it silly. I don't intend to let myself be a frump like some girls I know. Oh, dear me, let's be elegant or die. Joe does use such slang words. Don't, Joe, it's so boyish. That's why I do it. Thank heaven I've a boy spirit under my bib and tucker. I detest rude, unladylike girls. I hate affected, ninny-pinny chits.
Birds in their little nests agree. You're old enough to leave off the boyish tricks, Josephine. It didn't matter so much when you were younger, but now you are so tall and turn up your hair. You ought to remember that you are a young lady.
I'm not. And if turning my hair up makes me one, then I'll wear my hair in 2 tails till I'm 20. I hate to think I have to grow up and be Miss March and be as prim as a china aster.
You needn't be prim, only girlish.
Girlish? Ha! It's bad enough being a girl anyway, when I like boys' games and manners. And it's worse now than ever, for I'm dying to go off to the war and fight with Papa, and all I can do is sit and knit like a poky old woman. Dear old Joe, it's too bad, but it just can't be helped. So you must try to be content with making your name boyish and playing brother to us girls.
As for you, Amy, you are altogether too particular and prim. Your airs are funny now, but if you don't take care, you're going to grow up an affected little goose. I like your nice manners and refined way of speaking when you don't try to be elegant, but your absurd words are just as bad as slang.
If Joe is a tomboy and Amy a goose, what am I, please?
You're a little dear and nothing else.
I'll go, Hannah.
Good evening, Miss Meg. Here's a note for you.
Thank you. Joe does pick at me so. He laughs at my statues and makes fun of my manners.
drop. Because all she wants to do is read and write plays and stories.
Well, she needn't think I like her old stories, because I don't.
Joe, come here.
What is it, Meg?
Only see, it's a regular visit from Mrs. Gardner. Mrs. Gardner would be happy to see Miss March and Miss Josephine at a little dance on Christmas Eve. I'm sure Mommy will let us go, but what should we wear?
What's the use of asking that when you know it she'll wear our poplins, because we haven't got anything else?
If I only had a silk.
Well, I'm sure our pops look like silk, and they're good enough for us. Why, Meg, yours is as good as new. Oh, dear. I forgot the burn in mine. Whatever shall I do?
The burn?
Yes, I scorched it standing with my back near the fire. Another of your boyish tricks. Joe, you certainly are incorrigible. That burn shows dreadfully.
Can't you just drop a little black velvet bow on it?
Wouldn't that look nice? A bow in the middle of her back.
You'll just have to keep your back out of sight, Joe. Your front's all right. How about your gloves?
They're ruined with lemonade, so she'll have to go without.
Oh, you must have gloves or I won't go. You can't dance without them, and if you should, I would be mortified.
Then I'll stay still. I don't care much for company dancing anyhow. I like to fly around and cut capers.
Can't you make them do?
No. I'll tell you what we can do. We can each wear a good one and carry a bad one.
No, your hands are bigger than mine. You'll stretch my gloves dreadfully.
Then I shall go without. I don't care what people say.
You may have them. You may. Only, don't put your hands behind your back and do behave nicely. Don't say things like Christopher Columbus or call things plummy, will you?
Oh, don't worry about me. I'll be as prim as I can be.
Have you a nice pocket handkerchief?
Oh, yes, a plummy one.
Oh, Joe.
I mean, it's spandy nice. You're like Marmee. I believe she would ask us all if we had handkerchiefs if we were running away from an earthquake.
It's one of her aristocratic views and quite proper. Mind you keep your back out of sight, Joe.
I know I shall forget. If I do, remind me with a wink, will you?
No, winking isn't ladylike.
How do you learn to be so proper? All right, go answer your note while I finish the witch's curse.
Laurie! There goes Laurie on his new horse. How well that boy rides.
Laurie certainly is a perfect cyclops, isn't he? How can you say that when he's got both of his eyes? I didn't say anything about his eyes, and I don't see why you need fire up when I admire his riding. That little goose means centaur, and she calls him a cyclops. Well, you needn't be so rude. It's only a lapse of lingy, as our teacher says. We must practice the play with the scenes and the costumes. There's a lot to do about that play before Christmas night.
I don't mean to act anymore after this time.
What?
I'm getting too old for such frolics.
You won't quit, Meg. As long as you can trail about in long gowns and wear gold paper jewelry. Well, you're the best actress we've got. There'll be an end to everything if you quit the boards. Amy, come and practice the painting scene. You're as stiff as a poker in that. I can't help it. I've never seen anyone faint before, and I don't intend to make myself black and blue tumbling flat as you do. If I can go down easily, then I will drop. If I can't, I'll fall into a chair and be graceful. Oh, do it like this. Clasp your hands together like so, and stagger about the stage crying, Rodrigo! Rodrigo! Save me! Save me! Save me! There you are. Now you try. Rodrigo, save me, save me, save me. Scream, Amy. Scream as if you were crying for help. Ow! Oh, it's no use. Do the best you can when the time comes. Don't blame me if the audience laughs. Okay, Meg, it's the incantation with the love potion. Hither I come, from an airy home afar in the silver moon. Take this magic spell. trusty sword, I shall make earnestly estrange. Pay royally for this priceless gift. A love potion with which to win the lovely Zara. Come on, Amy, that's your cue. Oh dear, I never can remember. 'Tis like a dream, so strange, so terrible. He whom I thought so gentle and so true is stained with fearful crimes. Poor murdered lady, have I escaped a fate like thine? Ah, I hear his step. Now heart, be firm. I'm the villain now, remember? Proud lady, if thou wilt not love, I will make thee learn to fear the heart thou hast so scornfully cast away. Thou shalt rue the day when Count Rodolfo asked and was refused. And I will win thee yet, and then beware. Do thy worst, murderer. Spirits will watch over me, and thou canst not harm. Adieu, my lord, adieu. Don't say adieu, Amy. Say adieu. Let the ill stop in your nose. Now's the scene in Norma's cave.
Sinful man, thy hour of reckoning has come. 'Twas I who bore thy murdered wife to a quiet grave, and raised her spirit to affright to haunt thee. I warned Hugo and betrayed thee to his power. Thy victims are avenged, and Norma's work is done. Her curse has sealed thy doom. Farewell, farewell.
Help! The ghosts, they torture me. The souls of the murdered, they haunt me. The demons gather about. How fast they come, how fast. Norma is muttering her spells. Let me go! Let me go! Norma, Zara, Hugo, pity. Let not earnestly estranged reach me. Ah!
That you've done yet. I don't see how you can act and write such splendid things, Joe. You're a regular Shakespeare.
Not quite. But I would like it if Meg and I would go on the stage. We could make lots of money, perhaps, and it's a very gay life. I've always wanted to do the killing part in Macbeth. If only we had a trap door. Is that a dagger I see before me?
No, it's a toasting fork. Beth is stage struck.
Why are you so merry, my girls?
Marmee!
How have things gone today, girls?
Oh, we've had a plummy day.
There was so much to do. Getting boxes for the soldiers ready. I didn't come home for dinner.
We missed you, Marmee.
Has anyone called back? How's your cold, Meg?
It's better, Marmee.
Joe, dear, you look tightened up. Come kiss me. Girls, I heard from Father today. A letter! A letter! 3 cheers for Father! Not a letter, dear, but a message from one of our soldiers who's been sent home on sick leave. Father's well and thinks he shall get through the cold season better than he had feared. He sends all sorts of loving messages to his little women.
It must be very disagreeable to have to sleep in a tent and eat all sorts of bad-tasting things and drink out of a canteen. When will he be home, Marmee?
Not for many, many months, dear. Unless he's sick. He shall stay and do his work faithfully. And we won't ask for him back a moment sooner than he can be spared. Miss March, will you have your tea now? If you please, Hannah. I'll go, Mom.
Well, Hannah!
Mr. Brookhouse. Good afternoon, Mr. Brooke.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies. I come as an emissary of both the peace and the war. Laurie begs permission to attend the rehearsal tonight, and I've come for those medical supplies. They must go out.
Yes, I'll get them directly. Girls, why not let Mr. Brooke and the Lawrences come to your rehearsal?
Absolutely not, Mother. Men are positively excluded. Laurie snuck his way into our Pickwick, but even he can't wheedle me into allowing men at our rehearsal.
Well, I'm sure Teddy won his Pickwick honor while sitting on a ragbag in a closet for hours, while you and Amy wrangled on about admitting him.
We don't want men at our little performances.
They're sure to laugh. And I never can bear to be laughed at.
Not allowed, I swear. Miss May, won't you relent?
No, indeed. If men are admitted, I shan't play.
What do you say, Beth? Remember, it's our Laurie.
I say, he shall come, and his grandpa too, if he likes.
Bully for you, Beth.
Joe.
Oh, Meg, be a good sort and give in.
I'll think about it.
Well, hurry up. We have to practice the play with the scenes and the costumes. Beth, Amy, help me collect the hospital supplies. And Meg, entertain Mr. Brooke while we're gone.
Here's the translation of that little French song Laurie promised you, Miss Meg.
Thank you, Mr. Brooke. But this isn't Laura's handwriting. Did you write it for me, Mr. Brooke?
Well, the song has always been a favorite of mine, and I just... Oh!
What is this? Is the house on fire? Good evening, Hannah.
Hello, Hannah!
Oh, it's Mr. Laurie.
Hello, everyone. Were you, Madam Mother, with Grandpa's compliments?
Thank you, Laurie.
So I hear there's a play tonight. How about it?
We'll see.
Man, come on out! Time for you and Amy!
I'm coming, Joe.
Here's a copy of the Mother Madonna you wanted to copy, little Raphael.
Oh, thank you so much, Laurie. I've tried to draw it from memory, but the woman's face isn't good. It's too beautiful for me to draw. But the baby was better, and I love it so much. I like to think he was a little child once, but that makes me feel closer to him, and it helps me.
Try again, dear. Even Raphael didn't succeed with his first Madonna.
Amy, come on out! Time for you! All right!
Joe, come down. I have something to tell you.
Go away, Teddy. I'm busy.
Joe's busy setting the stage, Laurie. Did you see the Christmas flowers? How beautiful they are? You didn't think they would bloom.
It doesn't look very hopeful about that rehearsal, Mrs. March.
No, Meg's getting a little conscious over their stage frolics, and even Joe can't tease her into admitting you.
It's okay, Hannah. The wreck was upstairs.
Them girls rehearsing again, and the missus never said a word. Was anyone hurt, Meg?
Oh no, the pasteboard tower fell just as Ernest was trying to carry off Zara. They all came down together.
Is Joe furious?
I didn't wait to find out. All I could see was Joe's russet boots and Amy's head.
Be quiet, you bad boy. I thought you'd gone home.
Where on earth did you get those boots?
Aren't they great? I got them from a friend who knows a lady who knows an actor.
They're certainly fetching.
Go and change, Joe. You're ridiculous in that costume.
All right, don't bother. Wait right here, Teddy. I'll be back in a jiffy.
All right, Joe. Then there will be no rehearsal tonight.
Not before tomorrow. It'll take a while to repair the ravages to Zara's tower.
Well, then I must be on my way. Laurie, I'll bring that Latin book by your grandfather's house. All right, Professor. Goodbye, Mrs. March.
Bye.
So how would you like to come for a ride? The professor's been making me study all day. Go up and get Joe and Amy, and you come along too.
Yes, Laura, we'd love to go. I'll tell Joe and Amy.
And Meg, how about you?
Huh? Oh, much obliged, but I'm busy.
Well, anything I can do for you, Madam Mother?
No, thank you, dear. Except stop by the office if you'll be passing. It's our day for a letter, and Father is as regular as the sun.
Telegram for Miss March, signed here.
It's one of them hard telegraph things, ma'am. Girls! Girls! Your father!
What is it, Marmee? Girls! Girls! Come quick! What, Marmee? It's a telegram. Your husband is very ill? Oh, Marmee! Come at once. SL Hospital, Washington.
I must go. I must go at once. It may be too late.
Marmee!
Oh, children, children, help me to bear it.
Lord help the dear man. I won't waste no time in crying. Get your things ready right away.
She's right. There's no time for tears now. Children, be calm. Let Mother think. Joe, give me a piece of paper and a pencil. Where's Laurie?
Right here, ma'am. Oh, let me do something.
The next train leaves at 6 o'clock, I think. Send a telegram saying I'll take that one.
Anything else? I can go anywhere, do anything.
Leave this note with Aunt March. Now go, dear. And don't kill yourself driving at a desperate pace.
Marmee, you asked that old dragon for money?
Joe, dear, I had to. I haven't $5 in my purse.
Her rheumatism's been bad today and she's sure to refuse.
Father needs me, and I'm sure some way will be provided. I can't think Aunt March would refuse at a time like this.
You have more faith in her than I do. She always croaks when you ask her for a ninepence. Shouldn't I go by the hospital rooms and tell them you won't be in tomorrow?
Yes, dear, I've quite forgotten. And Joe, pick up these things while you're at the drugstore. Amy, go up and tell Hannah to get down the old leather trunk. Beth, go ask Mr. Lawrence for a couple of bottles of old wine. I'm not too proud to beg for Father. And Meg, dear, help me find my things, or unpack the loader.
Marmy, you come sit down. You need all the rest you can get. I'll go pack your things and Hannah will get me everything together. I'll bring you in some tea.
This is a lot of nonsense.
Marmy said to bring the trunk down here.
This takes a lot. You had packed trunks before you were born. Where will you have this, Mom? Here? Oh, no, in the dining room, please.
Hannah, you're always so precipitous.
My dear madam, I am deeply grieved at this sad news, but we shall hope for the best.
It is all we can do, sir.
This is the wine you duly donned to ask for, madam, and here is some old peach brandy which may prove useful.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. You're so kind.
Don't mention it, I beg of you. Hospital wards are often cold and chilly, so I venture to offer this heavy shawl. And these warm slippers. Not beautiful, madam, but most comfortable, I assure you.
Mr. Lawrence, you're so kind. I don't know how to thank you.
Don't try to, ma'am, don't try. For it shall be a long, hard journey for a one alone. May I offer myself as an escort?
I couldn't think of asking you to make that long trip. If only you stay here and look after my girls when I'm gone.
As if they're my own, madam, I promise you. Is there anything else I can do for you? I supply with all the necessities.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure all my wants will be met.
Don't hesitate to call upon any emergency. I shall be back directly.
Oh, the kind, generous gentleman. Meg, Beth, take these things to Hannah and tell her to pack them very carefully.
Yes, Marmy, I will.
Miss Beth, your mom won't need those things no more in a pack. What would you do with them in a hospital, child?
Mr. Lawrence brought them for Father. Please put them in a tray, Hannah. And Beth, go get Mother's big sock. She'll need that for traveling. Tell Amy to get together her gloves and things while I take in her tea.
My brain is rich, but I'll be right back to pack in my trunk, Miss Beth.
Mr. Brooke.
I'm very sorry to hear of all this. Mr. Lawrence has commissions for me in Washington, and I've come to offer myself as an escort to your mother.
Thank you. It'll be such a relief to know she had you to take care of her. Thank you very, very much. I'm afraid her tea's getting cold. Won't you come in and speak to Marmy?
No, I won't bother her just yet, but we'll be back in time.
Here's your tea, Marmy.
Has Laurie returned from Aunt March yet?
Not yet. That may be him now. Let me go check. No, it's Aunt March herself. I'll get it, Marmy. By the way, John Brooke just came by, and he'll act as your escort to Washington tonight.
Whoa!
Oh, my feet! Be careful! Oh. Watch this! Watch this, I hear! March, stick in Washington! Serves him right, serves him right! I always knew it was absurd for him to go into the army. Perhaps next time he'll take my advice.
Father did what he thought was right, Aunt March.
Won't you sit down, Aunt March?
No, I won't sit down. A stronger man could have done more. Shouldn't have gone, shouldn't have gone. I knew he'd get fever or something. Never did know how to take care of himself. Or his money. You needn't be begging for me now if he had. He'd give his last dollar and the shirt off his back to the first man that asked him. Where would I be now if I'd done the same, I'd like to know.
I'm sorry to ask you for money, Aunt March, but I haven't anything for the railroad journey.
Course not, of course not. March, you just as bad as he is and expect me to come to the rescue. You may be willing to end your days in the poorhouse, but I'm not. I'm a sick old woman and I need all I've got.
The money will be repaid, Aunt March.
Ha! But when, I'd like to know? Such wastefulness. Gallivanting off to Washington on one of those scare telegrams. I can't afford such trips. When you see my nephew, ask him what he means by going off to war asking me to pull him out of the hole? What does he mean, guys? I said, what does he mean? Oh, my knee. Why don't you ask me to sit down? Oh. Where's Josephine? She's the only practical one in this family.
Joe's out running errands for Marmee, and Laurie...
Just as I thought, she's probably gadding about with that rat-crazy boy. This is proper.
Joe is not with Laurie, Aunt March.
So much the better. Oh, my knee. I'll never sleep tonight. Tell Josephine to come and read to me. I hope for good news of my nephew, but don't expect it. March never did have much stamina. Good night. Here's the 25 you asked for and a check for 50 more. I know there are plenty of bills to pay. Oh, my knee.
Aunt March didn't think to ever give it to us.
I knew she would, dear. She has a kind heart, but it's a shame to show it.
Marmee, we were afraid to come down. She was a raging volcano.
Oh, Amy, if you mean a volcano, why don't you just say so?
She was kind about the money, though. Oh, and here's your brooch with Father's hair in it. I thought you might like to wear it. Thank you, dearie.
Sounds like Joe. Lucky she missed Aunt March.
Saw Aunt March, so I got her in the garden. I knew she would give us nothing but advice, and from the look on her face, I guess you guys got that in large doses. Well, we're independent of her at any rate. And Marmee, here's my contribution toward making Father comfortable and bringing him home safely.
Joe, dear, $25. Wherever did you get it? I hope you haven't done anything rash.
No, it's mine, honestly. I didn't beg, borrow, or steal. I only sold what was my own.
Your hair, your beautiful hair.
Oh, Joe, how could you?
You're one beauty. Dear, this wasn't necessary. She doesn't look like my Joe anymore, but I love her dearly for it.
It won't affect the fate of the nation, Beth, so don't wail about it. It will be good for my vanity. I was getting proud of my mom. It will cool my brain. I'm satisfied.
But I'm not, dear. I know how willingly you sacrificed your vanity, as you call it, for your love. But Aunt March has helped us. It wasn't necessary. And I'm afraid one day you'll regret it.
Oh, I won't.
What made you do it?
Well, I was wild to do something for Father, and I've sold the nose off my face if anyone would have bought it. I've seen tails of hair marked $40, not nearly as thick as mine. So I marched in there and asked how much they would give for it.
I don't see how you dared.
Oh, he was a little old man who looked as if he lived to oil his hair. He hesitated at first. I told him in my own topsy-turvy way that I wanted the money for it. His wife said, "Take it, Thomas," and obliged the young lady.
Didn't you feel dreadfully when the first cut came?
I did feel queer when I saw the dear old hair laid out on the table.
Already? Joe, what on earth did you do to your hair? You look like you've made a porcupine out of yourself. You look like...
Laurie, don't say anything right now.
Time to go, madam. The conveyance is here.
Children, I leave you to Hannah's care and Mr. Elias's protection. Don't grieve or fret, but hope and keep busy. Remember, you can never be fatherless. Meg, dear, look after your sisters. Joe, don't do anything rash or get despondent. Comfort yourself with the music, dear. Amy, be obedient and listen to your sisters.
Oh, Mommy, don't be careful. Please take care of Father, Mommy.
We love him. Hi, Maureen. Be careful. We love you.
God bless you, dearie.
Joe, dear, what's the matter?
I was just having a private moan, that's all.
Are you crying about Father?
No, not now.
What then?
It's my hair. We used to have passion fish balls for breakfast, girls.
Good morning, Madam Mother.
Laurie,
So what's the news with Mr. March and Beth?
both are better, I'm happy to say. And it's good to have him home again. You never forget my nosegay, Laurie.
Where's Joe? I have something to tell her.
She's in the study playing nurse the father in bed. I'll send her to you, dear.
Tell her I have a plummy bit of news.
What's your secret, Teddy?
Well, I may get into a bit of a scrape for telling it. You know I never feel good until I tell you any plummy news I get.
Well, out with it. Is it nice?
Oh, it's spandy nice.
Well, fire away then.
I know where Meg's glove is.
Is that it?
Well, it's enough for the present, as you'll agree when I tell you where.
Well, tell then.
John Brooke has it.
John Brooke has it? How do you know?
I saw it.
Where?
His pocket. I asked him if he was going to pop the big question, and he owned up he was afraid to. He's so poor, and she's so young. Isn't it romantic?
No, it's horrid.
Well, I thought you'd be pleased.
At the thought of anyone coming to take Meg away, no thank you.
You'll feel better when someone comes to take you away.
Like to see anyone try it.
So should I.
Secrets don't agree with me, Teddy. I feel all rumpled in my mind.
Well, Amy and I are going skating by and by. Come along and forget your troubles.
Can't. I want to finish the story.
Such ambition. Oh, come along with Amy and me.
Go away, Teddy. I'm busy.
Ouch. All right. All right. But it'll be about the last day for the river.
Oh, I'm so cross. I wish I'd never been born.
Why, Joe, what is it?
Marmy, it's my dreadful temper. I get so savage when I'm in a passion. I could hurt anyone and enjoy it. Oh, help me, Marmy.
Joe, dear, you think your temper's the worst in the world, but mine's just like it.
Yours, Marmy? Well, you're never angry.
My dear, I've been trying to cure it for 40 years, and I've only succeeded in controlling it. I still have to learn not to feel it, although that may take another 40 years. What's the trouble?
Marmy, I want to tell you something.
About Meg?
How quickly you guessed. Although it's a little thing, it fidgets me.
Well, tell me about it.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, Meg left a pair of gloves over the Lawrences. Only one was returned, and, well, everyone forgot about it, till Teddy told me that Mr. Brooke has it.
How could Lori know that?
Well, Mr. Brooke kept it in his pocket. Once it fell out, Teddy joked him about it. Mr. Brooke owned up that he liked Meg. Now, isn't that a dreadful state of things?
Do you think Meg cares for him?
Mercy me, I don't know about love and such nonsense. Girls show it in novels by starting, blushing, and fainting away. Meg doesn't do anything of the sort. She eats, sleeps, and drinks like a normal creature.
Then you fancy Meg's not interested in John?
Who?
Mr. Brooke. We fell into the way of calling him John at the hospital.
Oh, you'll let Meg marry Mr. Brooke if she wants to. He's been nice to Papa. Oh, the mean thing. To go petting Papa just to wheedle to you.
Don't get angry, dear. John was so devoted to poor father, we couldn't help but growing fond of him.
Well, in my opinion, he asked first and then asked way.
He was open and honorable about Meg. He owned up to loving her, and only asked the right to try to make her love him.
That's no reason why I should steal Meg. Just wish I could marry Meg myself. Keep her safe in the family.
Don't say anything to Meg about this. Perhaps she doesn't care for him.
She likes brown eyes and doesn't think John an ugly name.
Not very fatal symptoms, Joe.
Still, I see it. They'll go lumbering about the house and I shall have to dodge.
John has his way to make in the world, dear. He's in no position to marry now.
Oh, he'll scratch up a fortune somewhere and carry Meg off and make a hole in the family. And I shall be abominably uncomfortable, and it shall break my heart. You don't like it either, Marmy. Let's send Mr. Brooke about his way, and we can be happy again, like we always were.
Joe, dear, I did wrong to sad. It's natural and right you girls should marry and go to homes of your own in time. I just want to keep my girls with me as long as I can, and I wish this hadn't happened so soon.
So am I. I'm disappointed. For I'd planned for Meg to marry Teddy by and by and sit in the lap of luxury for the rest of her days.
Money is a needful and precious thing, Joe, and many times a beautiful one. But I'd rather see my girls poor men's wives if they were happy and content than queens on thrones without self-respect or peace. Let time in our own hearts make our friends, Joe. Don't make plans lest they spoil our friendships.
I won't. But I hate to see things getting all snarled up and going crisscross, when a pull here and a snip there would straighten it all out. I wish wearing flat irons on our heads would keep us from growing up. But buds will be roses and kittens cats, more's the pity.
Beth is awakened, Mother. What's that I hear about flat irons and cats, Joe?
Only one of my stupid speeches, Father. I'm going skating with Laurie, Marmy. We'll stop at the office, Father, for the mail.
Don't be late for dinner, Amy.
No, Marmy, you know I'm always meticulous.
How goes the writing, my daughter?
Oh, Father, sometimes it gets so discouraged. Tear up pages and pages, and then genius burns. I've been writing some short stories, and I do want to sell some of them. I would like to make some money.
Well, money isn't the only thing in the world, my child.
I know, Plato.
Is Aunt March as trying and as amusing as ever?
She gets worse and worse, and funnier.
What's the latest wrinkle?
Nothing new. Reading Belcham's essays, watching the poodles, listening to the parrot swear. You know, Father, when I think of all the good times Aunt March could have and doesn't, I don't envy her with all of her money.
You are right, Joe, but you've Uncle Marsh's library to browse in. That is some comfort.
That reminds me, Father. Such an interesting man has been there. A Professor Friedrich Baer.
Oh, the Professor Baer, who translated Shakespeare into German and is making an English translation of Schiller.
I had no idea that my middle-aged professor was a celebrity.
Neither is he. When his sister died, he came over here to take care of his 2 little orphan nephews, whom he's educating in this country.
Why doesn't he educate them in Germany?
Well, their father was an American, and it was their mother's last wish that they be brought up as Americans. So he adopted not only the boys, but the country as well.
A fine, manly thing to do.
What is he like?
Well, he isn't handsome. And while he was browsing over the books, he was humming like a big bumblebee. Rather stout, and a good nose, and the kindest eyes I ever saw. Well, he's a gentleman, even though he has 2 buttons missing from his coat and a patch on one shoe.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Lawrence.
And how are you feeling today?
Improving steadily. Home is what I needed.
And my little friend Beth?
She is better this morning, though she seems frail. I think she'll gain with the coming of the season.
Miss Joe, have you seen that ham-scam grandson of mine? What mischief is he up to now?
He's out skating with Amy, Mr. Lawrence. Don't worry about Teddy. He'll turn out all right.
Well, he ought to after all the kindness you showed him over here.
Well, Marmy always says, cast your bread upon the waters, and after many days, it'll come back buttered.
Don't spoil the lad.
Mr. Lawrence, you see that Beth comes with royal retinue.
And she sure a little household queen.
How sunny the days are growing.
We must soon get you into the sunshine, my child. There's health and vigor in this air.
Sit here, Mr. Lawrence. Beth always looks forward to her morning visits with you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Here come Amy and Laurie, racing along like 2 children. They're getting too old for such frolics.
Don't make them grow up before they're ready, Meg. It's bad enough having you change all of a sudden.
Hurrah! Hurrah! We've got some plummy news and perhaps a real sensation of the season.
What is it,
Laurie?
We've a genius in the March family.
Oh, I'm sure it's dear old Joe.
Be it known by all these present that this paper...
Oh, Teddy, it isn't! It isn't!
It very much is the story of a villain, a viper, a corpse, and your name at the bottom, Miss Josephine March. Hooray for the spread eagle and for the celebrated American authoress.
Oh, Marmy! My story, it's been printed!
Isn't it fine to see it all in print? And aren't we proud?
Let me see it, daughter.
I knew it. I knew it. Oh, my Joe, I'm so proud.
Tell us all about it. Did Father know? Or Mother?
How did you ever dare try?
How much did you get for it? Stop jabbering, girls, and I'll tell you all about it. Well, to begin with, Teddy had read some of my stories.
And I said that her stories were works of Shakespeare compared to most of the rubbish that's printed every day.
So I gave him 3 stories to send to a publisher he knows.
And here's the result. 2 stories printed. The third also, if you'll cut out the moral.
Laurie.
People don't want to be preached at nowadays, and plus, here's a check for $50.
$50! Ha! And I can make reams of them. I can't do much with my hands, but I can make a battering ram out of my head and beat a living out of this topsy-turvy world.
It is good, my daughter, but you can do better than this. Remember, hit your wagon to a star and never mind the money.
I think the money is the nicest part of it. Fancy earning $50 all by yourself. Whatever will you do with such a fortune? Send Marmy and Beth to the seashore?
Oh, how splendid. But, Joe, I can't do it. It would be so selfish, dear.
You must. That is what I worked for and why I succeeded. I can never get on when I think of myself alone. So to help me to work for you, don't you see?
Beth, you must go. Marmy needs to go after nursing 2 invalids, and she won't go without you.
dear. Let Jo spend her first $50 in her own way.
But it's such a beautiful way. Just like my Joe.
I know Lee, I want to hear Jo's story. Father, are you too tired to read it out loud?
I never have a chance to get tired with such devoted nurses. Suppose we go into the study. The light is better.
Congratulations, Miss Jo.
Thank you, sir.
You first, my lady.
Well, I must go to see old Brooke. Oh, Meg. Have you seen him since he came home?
Of course. He comes by to see Father and Mother every day.
Such devotion to father and mother.
Well, I can go on spinning yarns like a spider. Perhaps take care of them all.
Joe, what is Laurie doing out there in the snow? He's on one knee with his hands clasped, looking at me. Now he's pretending to wring tears out of his handkerchief. What does that goose mean?
He's showing you how your John will go on by and by. Touching, isn't it?
Don't say my John, Joe. It isn't proper or true. Please don't plague me. I told you I don't care for him much. Just let us go on being friends as we were.
Well, I wish it was settled. If you do ever intend to do it, make haste and get it over with.
I can't say or do anything till he speaks, and he won't, because Father says I'm too young.
Well, if he did speak, you wouldn't know what to say.
I'm not as young and silly as you think. I know exactly what I'd say, for I've planned it all.
You planned it?
Well, yes, I wish to be prepared, and you never know what may happen.
Would you mind telling me what you would say?
Not at all. You are quite old enough to be my confidant, and my experiences may be useful to you in your own affairs of the sort.
Don't plan to have any. It's fun to watch other people philander, but I should feel like a fool doing it myself.
I think not. If he liked you very much, and he liked you.
I'd rather be an old maid and paddle my own canoe. Well, I thought you were going to tell me your old speech to that man.
Oh, yes. I should merely say quite calmly and decidedly, "Thank you, Mr. Brooke. You are very kind. Yet I agree with Father. I am too young to enter into any engagement at present, so please say no more, and let us go on being friends as we were."
That's stiff and cool enough. I don't believe you'll ever say it. When John goes on like rejected lovers in books, you'll give in.
I will not. I shall tell him I've made up my mind, and I shall walk out of the room with dignity.
Anybody home? Good morning. I came to get my umbrella. That is to see how your father finds himself today.
It's very well. He's in the rack. I'll go get him and tell it you're here.
Mother'd like to see you. Pray you sit down, I'll go call her.
Don't go. Are you afraid of me, Margaret?
How can I be afraid of you when you've been so kind to Father? I only wish I knew how to thank you for it.
Should I tell you how?
Oh no, please don't, I'd rather not.
I just want to know if you care for me a little. I love you so much, dear.
I don't know.
Well, try to find out. For I can't go to work with any heart till I know whether I'm to have my reward.
I'm too young.
Then I'll wait. In the meantime, you could be learning to like me. Would that be a very hard lesson?
Not if I choose to learn.
Please choose. I love to teach, and it would be much easier than Italian.
I don't choose. Please go away and let me be.
Do you really mean that?
Yes, I do. Father says I needn't worry about such things. I'm too young, and I'd rather not.
Well, may I hope you'll change your mind by and by?
Bless me! What's all this?
It's Father's friend. I'm so surprised to see you, Aunt March.
That's evident. What's Father's friend been saying to make you look like a tiny? There's mischief going on here, and I insist upon knowing what it is.
We were merely talking, Aunt March. Mr. Brooke came for his umbrella.
Brooke? That boy's tutor? I see now. You haven't gone and accepted him, have you, child?
Hush, she'll hear you, Aunt March. Shall I call Mother?
Not yet. Tell me, do you mean to marry this cook?
Brooke.
If you do, not one penny of my money goes
March, and you can leave your money to whoever you like.
Hoity-toity! Is that the way you take my advice, Missy? You'll be sorry for it by and by when you've tried love in a cottage and found it a failure.
It can't be worse than some people find it in big houses.
Now, Meg, be reasonable and take my advice. You ought to marry well and help your family. It's your duty to make a rich match, and it ought to be impressed upon you.
Father and Mother don't think so. They like John, though he is poor.
Your parents, my dear, have no more worldly wisdom than two babies.
I'm glad of it.
This crook hasn't any rich relatives, has he?
Nobody has many warm friends.
You can't live on them. Try it and see how cool they'll grow. He hasn't any business either, has he?
No, but Mr. Lawrence is planning to help him.
Ha! That won't last long. So you mean to marry a man without money, business, or position and go on working harder than you do now, when you might be happy all your days by minding me and doing better? I thought you had more sense, Meg.
I could do better if I waited half my life. John is good and wise and energetic and brave and sure to get on, and I'm proud to think that he cares for me, though I am young and silly.
He knows you've got rich relations, child.
Aunt March, how dare you say such a thing? My John wouldn't marry for money any more than I would, and I won't listen to you another minute if you talk so. I'm not afraid of being poor, for I've been poor all my life, and I know I shall be with him because he's
I wash my hands of the whole affair. You are a willful child, and you've lost more than you know with this piece of folly. No, I won't stay. I haven't the spirit to see your father now. Don't expect anything from me when you're married. Your Mr. Crook's friends must take care of you now. I'm done with you forever.
It's broke!
Hoity-toity!
I couldn't help overhearing. Thank you for defending me, and Aunt March for proving you do care for me a little.
I didn't know how much till she abused you so.
And I needn't go, but stay and be happy.
Yes, John.
There, she's had it out with Aunt March and sent Brooke away.
Sister Joe, congratulate us.
Father! Mother! Come quickly! Son, Brooke is acting dreadfully! Meg likes it!
We're backward going to the destination in time. Very good, said Sam. Get a better Christmas in them. There. We all look comfortable and compact to the father as he cuts his little boy's head off and turns us quick.
Miss Meg, come quick. Miss Amy's hopping around the woodshed with her foot stuck in some white stuff and she can't get it out. I can't get it out!
Oh, dear Amy, I thought I told you to leave the plastic modeling stuff alone.
She's crazy about them tiny fingers she calls daddies. I can't get her foot out of the pan.
We'll cry, Nana.
What, no more Pickwick?
Not for the present. I'm read out.
Joe, dear, won't you help me cut the sunflowers? We need the seeds to feed Aunt Cockletop and her family of chicks.
Yes, I'll be glad of the exercise and the chance to cool my fevered brain. Besides, I need time to fill up my idea box again.
Father, I'm worried about Amy and Laurie and Joe.
Worried? You don't think that Amy...
Mother's eyes are keen, dear. And there's no question in my mind that Amy cares for Laurie in quite another way than he does for her. He loves her, of course, but it's entirely the big brother attitude.
And Joe?
Sometimes I fear Joe's heart would never be touched by real romance.
With her, brain is developing before heart.
Yes, she says she prefers her imaginary heroes to the real one, so she can lock them up in the old tin kitchen with her manuscripts when she tires of them. And yet...
And yet? What else are those keen motherly eyes discovered?
Do you remember how interested Joe was in that elderly professor?
Professor Fair?
Well, since she's been teaching Miss Kirk's children, she's seen him again. He rooms with the Kirks, he teaches her German, and she sews on his buttons and darns his socks.
You dear, foolish mother. I shouldn't call darning socks a love symptom.
Marmee, I'm going down the office to walk up with John.
Yes, dear. Ask John back to tea.
Thanks, Marmee.
Marmee, you said I might ask my professor to call, and he's coming this afternoon.
You seem very interested in the Professor, Joe.
Yes, well, he advised me to study simple true characters, so I proceeded to study him. I find him a great puzzle. He's not fascinating or brilliant, yet people gather about him as naturally as about a genial fire. He's poor, yet always seems to be giving something away. He's a stranger, yet everyone's his friend. He's plain and peculiar, and I've been wondering, what is it about it that works the charm, and finally discovered its benevolence. Why, Mother, his boots are very benevolent.
Marmee, may I wear your little pearl pin to the dance tonight?
Yes, dear. It's quite simple enough to be appropriate for my little girl.
Where are you going, Amy?
Aunt Curtis has asked me to dine there tonight. Then she will take Flo and me to Mamie Gardner's dance.
What are you going to wear, dear?
I've remade Flo's old dress.
Don't see why you want to go to parties, Amy, and truckle to a parcel of girls who don't give a sixpence for you just because they wear French heels and ride in coupes.
I don't chuckle, and I hate being patronized just as much as you do. But I like people, and I mean to make the most of it every chance I get.
Well, I like luxury, but prefer independence.
Well, you may go throughout the world with your elbows out and your nose in the air and call it independence if you like. But it's not my way.
Don't squabble, children. Amy, I think you made a perfectly charming creation of Meg's old hat.
Meg's old hat? Isn't it a new one?
Not at all. I just put some roses and beads on it.
It certainly is a great comfort to know I have an artistic sister.
Well, John,
Meg and I have been house hunting.
isn't it soon, John, with the wedding date not fixed?
Oh, Marmee, we found such a dear little cottage. The Dove Cote, as my John calls it.
Mush.
Will you go with us to see it tomorrow? Of course, dear. John, won't you stay to tea?
I'd only be too glad of the chance, ma'am.
Hey, John, won't you hold this for me, please? I hate blubbering. Toodles is coming. Now perhaps we can have some sensible conversation. I wish you wouldn't call Laurie Toodles, Joe. It isn't dignified. Petty.
For you, Mrs. Meg, with the maker's compliments.
Laurie!
So anytime John isn't home and you feel frightened, take that, put it outside the front of your window, and it'll rouse the neighborhood to jiffy, I'm sure. Amy, you're getting far together too handsome for one single lady. I shall warn Grandpa.
Don't be absurd, Laurie. Will you ever grow up?
Well, I'm trying, man, but 6'4" is about all a man can do these days. Gaze upon the happy lovers.
Aren't they radiant? I want to paint Megan a wedding gown. The first bride in the March family.
Brooke asked me to the wedding, and I told him I would come on the spot. I told him I would come if I were at the end of the earth. For the sight of Joe's face on that occasion would be worth a long journey.
Yes, wouldn't it? I must try, so I shall be late.
You don't look festive, ma'am. What's wrong?
I don't agree with the match. You can't know how hard it is for me to give up Meg.
Well, you don't really give her up. You only go halves.
I've lost my dearest friend.
Well, you've got me anyhow, and I'll be with you the rest of the days of my life.
I know you will, Teddy. You're always such a comfort to me.
So there now. Don't be dismal. That's a good fellow. I tell you, we must do something about that little Parker. He's getting mighty desperate about Amy.
About Amy?
Well, yes, he writes about her and that sort of thing. We had better nip this little passion in the bud, hadn't we?
Of course we have. The idea! There shouldn't be any more marrying in the family for years to come. What are the children thinking about?
I don't know. But it's a fast age, and you're a mere infant, but you'll go next.
There should always be an old maid in the family, and I'm it. I don't agree with breaking up families, so let's change the subject.
You'll go next.
I'll go, Hannah. Tell Mother and Father that the professor's here.
Someone to see Miss Chatterman.
Professor Bear, so glad to see you.
And I to see you, Miss Marsh. But no, you have a party.
Oh, no, just the family. Coming to make one of us
Well, if I should not be intruding, I would gladly see them all.
Mother, Father, this is my friend, the Professor Bear.
Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening, Professor.
Good evening, sir. And this is your friend of whom you speak?
Yes, my boy Teddy. I'm very proud of him.
Oh, come now, Joe. Don't speak of me as if I'm a lapdog or bad. How do you do, Professor Bear?
Very well, I thank you.
And always remember that there's a welcome for you over the way.
Thank you, sir. It will give me pleasure to come.
Maury, come here a minute, will you?
Won't you sit down?
No, here, Professor.
My daughter is much interested in your German translation of Shakespeare, sir.
Is it so? Miss Marsh, she tell me often she wish a library. I tell her to read him well, and he will help her much. For the study of character will aid her to read it in the world and paint it with her pen. I want my people to know Shakespeare as I have come to know him, and so, I may try to put him into the German tongue.
Much like trying to put Schiller into English, I fancy, and quite as difficult.
Yes, that reminds me. Herr Marsh, Miss Marsh, I mean, she tell me how you love my Schiller. And so, ich war so free. So I make so bold as to bring my copy for you to see. One of those sensation papers with their horrid pictures. Forgive me, sir, I did not see him. The Spread Eagle, a family story paper. These papers are not for young people to read. I have no patience with those who make this harm.
You are wise to put the paper from you. Young people should not see such things.
I would more rather give a child of mine gunpowder to play with than that bad trash.
All is not bad, only silly. And if there's a demand for it, I shouldn't see the harm in supplying it. Many very respectable people make an honest living out of what are called sensational stories.
There's a demand for whiskey, but I think that you and I do not care to sell it. If the respectable people knew what harm they did, they would not think they're living honest. And the people who write this trash, they are not only men, but women, I grieve to say, for in doing so they desecrate their most womanliest nature. For to live with thieves, murderers, and criminals, even if it is only in imagination, is to live in bad company. And I should like to send all the rest out of you. My apologies to you, and to Schiller.
I shall enjoy your show, sir. Very much, thank you.
Professor, won't you stay to tea and meet the rest of the family?
I am sorrowful, but I must say no. For after Miss Joe invite me, a call come which I must heed.
I'm sorry, perhaps another time you may stay.
If I am welcome, madam.
You shall always be welcome here, Professor. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, Professor.
Good night.
Good night, Professor Bear. Oh, Professor Bear. Good night, sir.
Good night.
I suspect that is a wise man.
And I think he is a good one.
Yes, I knew you would like him.
I must see Hannah about the tea. Father, do you remember you promised to call on Aunt March today?
Oh, yes, Mother. I'll go directly.
How well the Professor Bear looked. So trim and neat. Why, he couldn't have gotten himself up with more care if he was going a-wooing.
Everybody gone? I'm glad. For I want to say something I've been wanting to say for a long time.
Teddy, please don't.
No, Joe, we have to have it out. The sooner the better for both of us.
Say what you like, then. I'll listen.
Joe, I've loved you ever since I've known you. I couldn't help it. You've always been so nice to me, and I'm going to make you hear. So give me your answer, for I can't go on like this any longer.
Teddy, I thought you would understand.
I know, but girls are so queer. You never know what they mean. Sometimes they say no when they mean yes, and drive a man out of his wits just for the fun of it.
I don't. I never wanted you to care for me so. I tried to save you from it.
Well, I thought so, but it only made me love you all the more. And I've waited and never complained, for I thought you'd love me. Even though I know I'm not half good enough.
Oh, yes, you are. You're a great deal too good for me, Teddy. And I'm so proud and fond of you. I don't see why I can't love you the way you want me to.
Really, truly, Joe?
Really, truly, dear. Oh, I could kill myself if it would do any good. You know, it's impossible for people to make themselves love other people if they don't.
Well, they do sometimes.
Yes, but it's not the right sort of love. I'd rather not try it. Teddy, I want to tell you something.
Don't tell me that, Joe. I can't bear to hear it now.
Tell you what?
That you love that old man.
What old man?
That devilish old professor that you're always talking about and writing about. If you say you love him...
Teddy Lawrence, I never thought of such a thing. He's not old or devilish. And I know I shall get angry if you abuse my professor.
There, I told you.
I haven't the least idea of loving him. Or anybody else.
But you will. Soon enough. And then what will happen to me?
You'll get over this trouble and find someone else.
But I don't want anybody else, Joe. I want you. And I can't forget you, Joe. I won't forget you. Never.
Teddy, do be reasonable and take a sensible view of the case.
I won't be reasonable. And I won't take what you call a sensible view of the case. It doesn't help me, and it only makes you harder. I don't believe you have any heart.
I wish I hadn't.
Don't disappoint us, dear. Grandpa has his heart set upon it, and your people like it, and I can't go on without you. So please say you will, and let's be happy.
I can't say yes truly, so I won't say it at all. You'll see that I'm right by and thank me for it.
I'll be hanged if I do.
Yes, you will. You'll find some nice, accomplished girl who will adore you and make a fine mistress out of your fine house. I shouldn't. Well, I'm homely and awkward and old and odd and... Well, you should like elegant society and I wouldn't. And you should hate my scribbling and I couldn't get on without it. And we should be so unhappy and wish we hadn't done it.
Anything more?
No. Except I don't believe I shall ever marry. And I love my liberty too well to be in a hurry to give it up for any mortal man.
You'll be sorry someday, Joe.
Well, where are you going?
To the devil!
Laurie, will you ask your grandfather?
My dear boy, I know. Be patient. Joe's right. It's better this way, I'm sure.
I don't want the accomplished, beautiful girl that Joe talks about. I want Joe.
I know, but someday the hurt will heal, and you'll find just the right...
Are you there yet?
I was just going.
Please. Thank you. We'll see me to my coach, Sir Knight. Good night, Marmy.
Good night, children.
Good night, madam. I'll take care of it. No, Amy, I won't be late.
Think of it. Meg is a mother, Marmy a grandmother, and I'm an aunt. Aunt Amy. Marmy, I beg your pardon, Grandma March.
John was the first to call me that. It doesn't seem but yesterday they were married.
Yet it's been more than 2 years. Mayn't I go up now, Marmy?
Yes, dear, but gently. Remember the little mother sleeping in the next room.
Good morning, ma'am. This sure is a happy household today.
Yes, and a thankful one.
John was over early to tell us the good news.
It was anxious night, but Joy came with the morning.
Is Joy going through to the station to meet my boy Lloyd?
She hasn't returned from that march yet, but if she's too late, remember she has to be the first to tell Laurie about Meg, so don't even hint.
Not a hit, man, I promise. But you know it can't be a complete surprise. How's Beth?
She's asleep in the study.
Good morning, Mr. Lawrence.
Good morning, sir. This should be the proudest day of your life.
I think it is.
Laurie and I should be back in half an hour. Tell me straight, I promise secrecy.
Mother.
Father.
Meg and John are like two children with a new toy. And Amy, bless her, hovers over the cradle like a Madonna.
Yes, the dear girl will get a model from real life now. I presume she's already started sketching?
Well, when I came down, it wasn't art, but finery. She and Meg were discussing some problem about ribbons and poor John seemed helpless.
Imagine John knowing anything about ribbons.
Ran all the way from Aunt March's. She's as proud as a peacock and tries not to show it. Snorting and scolding 1 minute and asking questions the next. Oh, I know I'm too late to meet Teddy.
Yes, Mr. Lawrence left here a few minutes ago.
Joe, this looks like a book for you.
For me? Why, Father, it's Professor Baer's English translation of Schiller, author's copy, and it's autographed, with an inscription in his own handwriting.
Oh, what has he written?
He's actually credited me with being his inspiration.
Perhaps you were his inspiration, Joe.
Much more likely he's been mine, for he's made me ashamed of writing trash.
I wish that philosophy paid more in this money-loving world, and then my girl wouldn't have to write such lurid tales.
Well, Plato, a phantom's hand put down the new carpet, and the curse of the Coventrys paid for the groceries and the gowns. So the inside of my head can at least take care of the outside.
How's the book coming on? Any news from the publisher?
Well, they sent the first chapters back. Thought that they were dull.
Oh?
Well, so did I. So I started them out again. And I'm sitting like Patience on a hard chair, smiling at an inkstand.
Life is your college, dear, and you're graduating with honors, I know.
Well, disappointment must be good for me. I get so much of it lately. And the constant thumping of fate may prove a mellowing process, so I should be a ripe, sweet old pippin before I die.
All the philosophy in this house is not in the study, I see.
Look at my modern Madonna, Joe. Oh, it's great. Amy, you've captured Meg's expression perfectly. Why, you're the genius of the March family after all. I'm the grub and you're the butterfly. Joe, how can you say that after all you've done for this family? After all, you're the one who's made me ambitious to do my share. How I shall work when I get to Rome. Think of it, Joe, I sail in less than a month. Wasn't it good of Aunt Curtis to invite me? Splendid little Raphael, splendid. Do you think I'm selfish to go, Joe? Both Mother and Father tell me to, but with Beth so ill, it seems as if I were leaving such a burden for you to carry alone. Oh, take your chance of it. Make the best of it. Teddy and his grandfather will be over there soon, and they'll be sure that you have a perfectly plummy time.
Here comes Laurie, girls.
Hello, everybody. College is great, but oh, I say, it's good to be home.
Teddy!
Joe, are you glad to see me?
Glad, my blessed boy. Glad isn't the word.
And Amy, you're a picture in that gown.
I'm glad you like it, Clark Laurie. I made it myself.
My boy.
Laurie!
Beth, how was our little tranquility?
I'm doing better, I hope.
May I escort you to your throne, Queen Bess? I'm sorry I minus my velvet cloak.
Over here, Teddy, in the sunshine.
And here comes Hannah poking her head in the door. I forgot not to make a racket. Shake not thy gory locks at me. Hannah, come here.
Oh, Mr. Lowry, you're the blarney, but you're bonnier than ever, and that's the truth.
Don't. So tell me about Mr. Brooke and the little mama. Grandpa's so mysterious, he never tells me whether it's a boy or a girl.
Well, Miss Joe says.
Never mind what Miss Joe says. Not a word from anyone, mind.
Jupiter Rabbit, what does she mean?
You wait, Laurie.
Ah, Father Brooke. So how is Mrs. Brooke and the little Brooke?
All doing nine, thanks.
Teddy, close your eyes.
I don't think so. No thanks. I'm sure to drop whatever it is as sure as fate.
Close your eyes or you shan't see your Nebby.
Oh, I will, only you'll be responsible for the damages.
All right, close them. Keep them shut. Now look.
Twins, by Jupiter! I'm going to laugh. Someone take these before I drop them both.
Well, I set my heart on surprising you, and I flatter myself I've done it.
Never been more staggered in my whole life. So, are they boys? Well, Joe, when you're through unfolding like an animated puzzle, hold me up. For upon my word, this is too much for me.
Boy hands, girl. Aren't they beauties?
So which one is which?
Well, Amy put a pink bow on the girl and a blue bow on the boy. Besides, one has brown eyes and one has blue eyes. Kiss him, Uncle Teddy.
I'm afraid they might not like it.
Of course they will. Kiss him this minute.
Look at that one's face. That's the boy.
He used to be named John Lawrence. And the girl, Margaret, after mother and grandmother. We shall call her Meg, so as not to have two... We shall call her Daisy, so as not to have two Megs in the family. And as I suppose we can't have two Johns either, we'll have to call the Manny Jack, unless we find a better name.
John and Demi-John. No. Yeah. Hey, that's what we should call him. Demi-John, and call him Demi for short.
Just the thing. Oh, I knew Teddy would do it.
Well, all this, while very pleasant, isn't preparing next Sunday's talk. I'll seek inspiration under the trees.
My lesson's at 4. It's time I got started.
Well, I'll go with you, mademoiselle, if I may.
I must help Hannah. Joe, will you look after Beth?
Yes, Mommy. I plan to cuddle Beth and write a little after all the excitement is over. Oh, Amy! How splendid! Oh, how splendid! Beth, I didn't want you to see them yet. I'm not finished, but I was drawing them for you. Oh, how good everyone is to me. You always make me think of beauty, Amy, and of the gladness of the spring. You are March sunshine, dear.
Won't you come along, Joe? You know I deserve a great petting after that long grind in college.
Amy will pet you. I'm busy.
Well, Amy isn't given to petting. Do you hate your boy and want him to go away?
You know I don't, Teddy. But Beth needs me now.
I understand, Joe.
Come right in. They'll all be glad to see you.
I'm glad to see them. I have waited a long to greet them all again.
Oh, Professor Bear! I look such a fright. When did you come in? You remember Teddy, don't you?
Indeed I do, most pleasantly.
How do you do, Professor Bear?
Very well. I arrived only this morning. How is the little sick one?
Come right up here and speak to her, Professor.
May I offer these flowers to my little friend? They remind me of your eyes.
Why, thank you, sir. It's nice to have you here again, Professor.
And it is good to be here, Miss Amy. May I congratulate this happy household? Motherhood is the deepest and tenderest experience in a woman's life.
And may I congratulate you, sir, on the beautiful book. I never had anything dedicated to me before. And to begin with Schiller.
As your good father says, Miss Marsh, always begin with the best. But you have been ill, my friend?
No, not ill, but a little tired. And worried about Beth.
I know. For the good father, he has told me. I wish that I could help. Do something.
Thank you, sir, but nothing can help me now, except to have Beth well again. She seems to be slipping away from us.
That is in God's hands, Miss Marsh. But the spring comes, and that should help my little friend. Ah! I know what you are thinking about me. He is a stupid old fellow. He will not see. But I have an eye, and I do see. I have a heart, and I feel. I think it is better to say not what I feel right now.
Then you're leaving?
I think it is time. May the happiness which you have so richly deserved be yours for always, my friend. Goodbye.
Goodbye?
Well then, let us say Auf Wiedersehen.
Listen, that's my Robin. See how he struts and tries to show off?
I think he's singing for his supper. Amy, will you bring him some crumbs? I'll go.
Why, where's the professor?
He's gone. I better hurry or I'll be late.
I must go for a little while, Beth. You make sure you get well.
Yes, Lori, I will. See, Father? I wanted to finish it before the babies came. Will you please take it to Meg and tell her that every stitch means love for her?
I will, dear.
Look, there they are, Beth. Oh, Joe, see how tame they are? Oh, I hope he comes back next spring.
Dear, you're cold. Shouldn't I move you by the fire?
Yes, please, and will you please put these things away? The needle is so heavy, and I am so tired.
Upsy daisy. There. Now are you all right, my little sister?
Yes, thank you. Joe, dear, last night, as I lay awake, I thought of Meg, that dear, happy little mother in that room upstairs. And I thought of the angel sent to show those babies the way to this life, and perhaps a poor, weary soul, the way to a more perfect life. How strange it is, the coming and the going, and how beautiful. Well, I think I've just been waiting to see Meg's babies. Joe, dear, I'm glad you understand. I've been wanting to tell you for so long. Will you please tell the others for me?
Beth, what are you saying? You're not going. God wouldn't be so cruel.
Hush, Joe. This morning, I watched the sunrise. As the darkness faded into the gray and violet, I watched and I waited. Then the sky grew rosy and beautiful. It seemed as if everything stood still, as if God had rested his hand upon the earth for just one moment. And then, Joe, dear, the glory of the sun. It was like going through a long, dark passage or a grave, and then suddenly coming into light. And Joe, dear, for the first time, I felt the nearness of God. And I knew that the angel of life was waiting for me.
Beth, I'm not going to give you up.
But I shan't be far away, dear. I will go on helping all I can. I am not afraid. But I feel as if I should be homesick for you, even in heaven.
Beth, dear, come with Mother. I want you to lie down.
Yes, Marmee, I think I will. Tell them soon, Joe. Very soon.
Daisy certainly shows a proper appreciation of her new bridegroom. Oh, John.
Well, I must smoke, Father, and I can't be a bad example to my son.
Won't you join me for a turn in the garden?
You should begin by hiding your glasses, John, but I'll go.
Joe, dear, go to Beth. She's asking for you.
Yes, Mother.
Father! Father!
Mother, what is it? Is that worse?
It's in, I'm afraid. She's asked for Joe. I must send Hannah for Amy.
I'll go.
No, you must stay with Meg. She can't be told yet.
I'll get Hannah. It may not be the end, Mother. Only another sinking spell. You mustn't give up hope.
John, I'm afraid.
There, my little Spartan mother. We won't send Beth's last moments with our tears.
Brooke, what's wrong? I saw Hannah flying down the street. I stopped her and tried to talk to her, but she cried and hurried on. Is it Beth?
Yes.
Is she worse? Well, where's Joe?
They're all in there. She must have taken a turn. Father.
The little Beth. Does Amy know?
No, they sent Hannah for her.
We'll all go and meet her.
No, you should probably stay here. I must go to Meg.
Laurie, what is it?
Is Beth very ill?
No, Amy. Beth is well. At last. Don't, dear. Don't. Little Amy, this isn't the end. It's the beginning. And it's not a time for sadness. It's a time for rejoicing. There. Can't you hear her message from the other side?
John, look at that darling little squirrel.
It's not a squirrel. It's a chipmunk.
Smarty. Wow. Aunt March sure did the March family one good turn in leaving dear old Plumfield to Joe.
She certainly did them another. Look at the fine husband she provided for you.
Conceit. Well, there is one thing. You're useful as well as ornamental. What will Joe do with Plumfield?
Well, I think her idea is a fine one. Turn it into a homeschool for boys.
Meg, you should see Father and the babies. He's trying to teach them the alphabet.
The alphabet?
Yes, with his legs.
His legs?
Yes, he's lying on the ground with Demi beside him. They have their legs in the air. They're making V's and W's, while Daisy just looks on like in wide-eyed wonder.
With a philosopher for a grandfather and a tutor for a father, my son will be asking unanswerable questions with bumps over his eyes.
The Plumfield School has certainly begun.
I wish it had. I do want Jo to realize her old dream of plenty of boys and plenty of freedom.
But it isn't practical, dear. I know Joe's boy Tom is born a tomboy, but even she can't run a boys' school without enough money and the right teachers.
But fond parents have been known to pay.
Yes, but it would be just like Jo to gather up every little ragged urchin that needed a home. She'd adopt a whole orphan asylum if she could.
I don't see anything for it but to have her marry a rich man.
John Brooke, are you turning matchmaker?
No, leave such trivialities to my wife. But still, wouldn't it be great if Laurie
John.
would...
How do you like my new millinery?
It's very pretty. Is that what you call a breakfast cap?
Why, my dear man, it is my very best. Go to the concert and theater bonnet.
Well, pardon me. It's a local bonnet, but I prefer the face inside.
This is a fine old place, and it's been in your family for generations. I wish Miss Jo would let me help her financial scheme.
I'm afraid Jo's plan isn't entirely feasible. She's no more a bit of business than a baby.
That's why she's so dear to us, Mr. Lawrence.
Oh, why? When Aunt March died, didn't she leave enough money to run the old place?
I'm not entirely sure I approve of Jo's plan. She's been making a name for herself with her writing, and since her Beth left us, it's been her one comfort.
Where is Miss Jo?
Oh, I think she's about the place with Laurie.
Oh, no, she's not. She's showing the professor over Plumfield. They're building educational castles in the air. Castle on every acre.
Yes, and quite forgetting there are hungry men to feed. I think I'll tell Hannah to have tea out here under the trees.
Oh, do, Marmy. That will be wonderful.
Get up, you lazy boy, and go help me collect the babies. It's their sleepy time, you know.
Behold a henpecked husband.
I seek the philosopher of the apple orchard.
Aren't you gonna wait for me?
Come on, Slowpoke.
Amy, wait. What a day and what a place. Kind of reminds you of that old garden at Valrosa. Do you remember?
Shall I ever forget? You used to read to me by the hour while I sketched.
And lecture. Don't forget that, Amy, please.
Did I lecture, Laurie?
Well, rather regular rousers, but it did me good. Made me ashamed of my lazy ways. So, when do you start your new work of art, Raffaella?
Never. Rome took all the vanity out of me, for after seeing the wonders there, I felt too insignificant to live, and gave up all my foolish hopes in despair.
But why should you, with so much so much talent and energy?
That's just why. Because talent isn't genius, and no amount of energy can make it so. I want to be great, or nothing. I won't be a commonplace dauber, and I don't intend to try anymore.
Well, I'm glad of it.
Why?
Because I don't think that kind of work is suited for you, Amy. You belong...
Yes.
That is, Amy...
Yes. Yes, Laurie.
I have those sketches that you made of the trail at the bay.
Wasn't that walk through the woods wonderful?
When we floated in the shadows of the old castle.
With mountains on every side. How well we used to pull together then, didn't we, Laurie?
So well that I wish we might always pull together in the same boat. Will you, Amy? Will you?
Yes, Laurie.
When did you begin to care, dear?
Always, I think, but I struggled against it, for I thought you loved Joe.
No. Joe was right, and I was headstrong. May it be very soon?
Yes, dear.
Mrs. Lawrence. Oh, I say, how good that sounds.
My lord.
Milady.
My boys, what I've been hoping for years.
Glad you're pleased, sir.
What will Miss Jo say?
I don't think she'll mind. Say, Grandpa, could you take care of the professor for a while? I'd like to get the first skim, as we used to say when we were children and squabbled over the cream.
All right, my lad. Professor Bear, have you seen the archaeological society that should put on the burial customs of the ancient?
No,
I
but...
first arrived at a protest in Boston. Mr. March and I have been discussing it, and we just wondered if you had,
Teddy, you look wicked. What mischief have you been up to now?
Please, ma'am. I'm getting married.
Mercy! What dreadful thing will you do next?
A characteristic yet not so complimentary congratulation.
Well, what do you expect when you take one's breath away and let the cat out of the bag like that? Well, who is she? Well, get up, you ridiculous boy, and tell me all about her.
Well, you know her, and as a matter of fact, you've known her a lot longer than I have.
Miss Randall?
No.
Not Ned Moffat's sister. Oh, I hope not.
Guess again. Come nearer home.
Not Amy!
Who else could it be, Joe? Haven't you seen?
Teddy, I'm so glad! When did you first find out?
I don't just know, but I began to suspect when we were at the Chateau Garden at Valrosa. Such a day. My fate. It wasn't a love among the roses. Joe, I must ask you one thing, and then we can put it by forever. I will love you the rest of the days of my life, but the love is altered now, and I feel now that it is better as it is.
I tried to tell you, Teddy, but you wouldn't listen.
I know, it would have come about naturally if I had expected, but I got a heartache. And upon my word, I didn't know which one I loved best. So I tried to love you and Amy both the same. But I think it happened when Amy and I were at that old Chateau Garden at Valrosa. You both got into your right places, and I thought for sure I could love wife Amy and sister Jo and Love you both dearly. So will you believe it and go back to the days when we first knew one another?
I'll believe it with all my heart, Teddy. But we're not boy and girl anymore. We must stop the frolicking. We're man and woman now with sober work to do. But we can still love each other like brother and sister, won't we?
Going to get married right away. I can't wait.
Of course you can't. You always have to have things your way.
It is as I feared. There's no room in her heart for a stupid fellow like me.
Professor Bear, I was looking for you.
And I for you, Miss Marsh.
I thought you had gone.
Do you think that I should leave with no farewell to those who have been so heavenly kind to me?
No, but I know that you've been busy with your own affairs since you moved east.
I have hoped to come one time yet before I go.
Then you're leaving?
I have no longer any business here. It is done. The sun. He is very hot, Miss Marsh. May I not offer you this shade? Miss Marsh, there is something which I must ask you.
Yes, sir?
I am bold to say it because so short a time remains to me, but do you remember the little Tina at Mrs. Kirk's?
Yes, the little girl that rode your back and called you effluent.
Yes, my little Tina. Her mother is so poor, I thought that I might get a little dress for my Tina, but I am too stupid to go alone. Will you come with me and give me a word of good taste and help?
Oh, yes, sir. I'd be glad to.
Das ist aber nice fine. Perhaps also a shawl for Tina's mother. She is so poor, and the husband such a care. Yes. A thick, warm shawl would be a friendly thing, you think?
Yes, a very friendly thing.
Miss Marsh, may we go shopping together?
Yes, if you'd like.
I would like that very much. Miss Marsh, there is one thing more which I must make so bold to ask you.
Yes, sir?
May we make that shopping trip tomorrow?
Yes, if you like.
Pardon the haste, but I have so little time. I've made up my mind to go away from here. May I not take from you this burden? Heart's dearest, why do you cry?
Because you're leaving.
Ah, God, that is so good! My Joe, I came to see if you could care for me as something more than a friend. I have loved you for many years, and I wanted to know if you could return my love. Can you make a little place in your heart for old Fritz?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my Joe.
Oh,
I knew it. Congratulations, Professor. You have one girl in a million. Next to mine, of course. Her equal is not unknown.
I know that, my friend.
So what are the plans? How about a double wedding?
My Joe and I, we are very simple people, and a grand wedding is not for us. She hath a heart set on this little school, and me to teach him. I have a little money. Not much, but I think that it might be done as she wishes.
Well, come on, everybody. What's this? Another pair of lovers?
yes, and it's Grandma's birthday.
Long life to her and every happiness.
Oh, my girls, however long you may live, I could never wish for you a greater happiness than this.